Hello and welcome to Professor Bets, your home for all things sports betting. Before we get into the UFC 269, we have so many fights to talk about. I think I have 8 fights that I like. We're going to first recap how we did on UFC Fight Night, Aldo versus Font. Now, we originally had 9 fights, but due to 2 dropout fights, we ended up with 7, and we went 5 for 7, guys, including all of my underdog picks. Now, there's a reason for this. I'm just going to go over one that really caps how I felt about the whole night. You'll see in the Jimmy Crute fight versus Hill that Crute was heavily favored going into the match. It was kind of crazy for a fight that I thought it should be flipped the other way around. I thought Hill should have been leading in the books. That was not the case. That is okay, guys. That did not deter me at all because I've watched all of their last fights. I do the research and I saw quite a few flaws that I knew Hill was able to take advantage of because there's not many better on the feet. That was kind of the highlight of my night, though. Like I said, we went 5 for 7. It was absolutely extraordinary. Everything that I was saying was going to happen, happened. And even in the fights that we lost, guys, it was still happening as I said so. But the fighting game is fun. Some people just get knocked out. It happens. It was a beautiful night. So much fun. Back and forth action. Aldo looked amazing. Clay Guida, let's talk about that. Congratulations on getting another win. Now it's time to move into the present, into UFC Fight Night 269. Before we begin, I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys know that the prelims will start at 6 p.m. This will happen on ESPN, but then we're going to see the main event at 10 p.m. So very normal times for a UFC event. We are going to change the structure of this video a little bit. If you watched my last video, it was long. It was 16 minutes. I'm going to try to cut this one down. For the prelims, I have 3 bouts. We're just going to talk about the fighters. I'm going to give you a little piece of them, and we're going to move on. My first starts with Miranda Maverick winning her bout. Miranda Maverick will be fighting in the flyweight division for the women's on the prelims, and I absolutely love this bout, guys. And I love it because she stepped in on short notice for Maycee Barber, which really just fits her persona even. And let me tell you, so much power for that featherweight division. It's absolutely scary. She's one of my personal favorite fighters because the power that she throws at that division is automatically going to put her in the top 5. She's going to win this fight with that power. The UFC starts its fighters standing up, and that's immediately where we're going to see she just has different kind of energy and a pressure that most of these women can't handle, including her opponent on Saturday night. My next fighter is Dominick Cruz, guys. Dominick Cruz has been at the top of the division. It's for a reason. He is so great, multiple-time UFC champion, guys. Absolutely special fighter. He's going to win over Pedro Munhoz. I don't know where we've thought that Dominick Cruz may have fallen off because all the fighters that he's lost to recently are now world champion, guys. And they all look amazing. So he's only lost against the best of the best. Pedro Munhoz, however, very talented fighter as well, just not able to do what Dominick Cruz is able to do. And my last just happens to be the biggest favorite on the card, Bruno Silva. This has less to do about Bruno Silva, even though he's a great fighter, and more to do with his competition, guys. I've seen the other fighter fight, and what I noticed was a lot of flat-footedness. I don't think that Jordan Wright can fight off of his back foot, and that bothers me because that's exactly what Bruno Silva is going to make him do. And also, I don't believe Jordan Wright has a ground game. So I don't think this is one of those fights where you say, but if he can get it to the ground, he has a chance. I think he's beat on his feet. Now, one thing, he could do a massive head kick KO. He is talented. I'm not saying he's not talented, but I'm saying Bruno Silva is going to push the fight to him. And the obvious game plan is going to be to get his opponent on his back foot because he's pretty much defenseless at that point. All right, guys, see, that was so much faster than last time. We will spend a little bit more time in our main event, which we are starting now. Sean O'Malley is going to beat Paiva. Guys, not a question. This is another gimme. Like I said, might also become one of the favorites on the card. Paiva will look to steal the hype of the Sugar Show, but it will not happen, guys. Sugar Show's going to come in. This is main event. This is what he's here for. I wouldn't expect Sean O'Malley to ever put on a boring performance in a UFC main event. Moving on into our second fight into the main event, we have Kai Kara-France going against Cody Garbrandt. Now, this is a very exciting matchup because I love the number. I love what's happening. See, Cody Garbrandt is a crowd favorite, is a fan favorite. If you've watched the UFC, you've seen Cody Garbrandt. Even almost had the knockout of the year last year. If it wasn't for Joaquin Buckley with a beautiful spinning back kick that I don't think we'll ever see again. I don't think we've ever seen it, and I don't think we'll ever see it again. Garbrandt definitely holds the crowd in his back pocket, But Kai France is very, very talented, has a wonderful team behind him over there with Volkanovski and Israel Anyasada. As both of those guys are champions, they're a very tight-knit group. You're going to see those guys in their corner. And he just hits everything so straight, so true, guys, so quick. He's very, very technical, and I love that versus Cody Garbrandt. A little bit more of a wild, leaves his defenses a little bit more open. Cody Garbrandt has always got the puncher's chance, but other than that, in this fight, I see Kai France taking this one very, very easily. If it goes to a decision, it's Kai France. And I think he's just as much of a threat to knock out Cody Garbrandt as Cody Garbrandt is to knock out Kai France. Guys, that's one of my favorite picks of the night just because there's so much money to be made. I know it's only a plus 120, but it is going to pop up closer to UFC 269 start time. As people are going to start to bet and say, I know that name better than I know the other name, so I'm going to pick him. That's where we make our money. Now my next fight is a pick'em fight. It's even. That means Vegas doesn't see a side, and guys, I really don't either. You have Geoff Neal versus Santiago Ponzinibio, and I might have messed up that name. I absolutely love the way it looks, but you have to ponder this one just a little bit for multiple reasons. Let's start with off the canvas. I don't know, you normally say off the field. We'll say off the canvas for UFC events, guys. But outside of the ring, there has been a lot of drama folding around Geoff Neal and his DWI charge. I believe there was a weapons charge as well in there, guys. That's a distraction, and that is what I'm worried about here. Has Geoff Neal even really settled down and focused into this fight as we're starting to get into the runway of starting UFC media work and no longer being able to just focus on the fight, guys? That makes me nervous a little bit. Has he had a time to settle in? And the same for Santiago Ponzinibio. After the knockout loss to Ling Liang, there was some talk about whether he was actually still willing to fight or if he was planning on just becoming a broadcaster for the Spanish side of UFC, which he does very, very well. But there were questions to how serious he was taking the fight game. Now, in his last fight versus Vieza, he looked so much better. I think Ponzinibio will come in way more focused than I see Geoff Neal coming in. They both have a power. The power side definitely belongs to Geoff Neal, but you'll see the better the technical fighter, the more combinations come from Ponzinibio. I'm going to go ahead and take Ponzinibio in this fight. After the last fight with Beza, my mind changed. I went from seeing him as a fighter on his way out to a fighter that could still hang around with the best of them because Beza was on a run and he was looking really good. He didn't always look bad in that fight either. It was very, very close on that night, and I see it as very close on this night. If you're asking me which way I'm going to pick, like I said, this is even, so you're not going to get any more money betting for the other. You have to go with Ponzinibio on this, guys. You just have to trust that he's been a little bit more focused during training camp. And with that last fight, that's good enough for me to say that's still that really good Ponzinibio that was a title hopeful with an impressive record of 29-4. Now we've moved into our final two fights, and here's where it gets dicey. Amanda Nunes, put it all through. With Nunes as a minus 800, it's telling you what Vegas already knows, what we already know, which is this is food for Nunes. There's nobody that's able to challenge her at this time, so the UFC has offered her up a fighter, and that fighter has no chance in this bout. That's why it's a minus 800. It won't come down. It may go to a minus 1600 very, very fast. And that leads us into our last fight, the actual main event. We have Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. I'm biased on this one. I have to be. I love Dustin Poirier. He may be just my favorite fighter. But Charles Oliveira always has a chance in fights because once it goes to the ground, there's nobody better. It's proven. The most submission wins in UFC history. That's all you need to know in this fight. You can take two avenues here. I would recommend looking at both, adding them in parlays. That way, making sure you can come out on top. So I'm just going to break down how I feel this fight goes. The only way Charles Oliveira really wins, in my mind, is if he's able to submit Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier has been through all the wars, so if it goes to a 5-round bout, I have to give it to Poirier. He showed me more when it goes to 5 rounds. He shows that he can walk through the fire. I saw Charles Oliveira get dropped by Michael Chandler, which is not a slight on Charles Oliveira, as Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler was an absolutely fire matchup. What a great time to go ahead and put him in there, put him again versus the champ, and it looked amazing. Michael Chandler was able to drop Charles Oliveira, and that's where I see Dustin getting him. Dustin has never looked better on the feet, guys. He looks invincible. When he comes through multiple combinations, we're seeing punches 6, 7, 8 put together. This is a real problem for Charles Oliveira, who will have to fight off of his back foot. Dustin Poirier is coming for you, and he's going to take your shots, and you're going to have to take Dustin Poirier's shots. With that being said, I'm going to have to lean on Dustin Poirier, but I will put a little bit of money on Charles Oliveira by submission, as I feel like that is his only avenue to victory in this fight. Thank you guys so much for watching Professor Bet's UFC 269 breakdown. I'm so excited. It's coming really soon, guys. This is almost like an early Christmas. I've been wanting to see this fight since the first McGregor fight. I didn't think Poirier needed to beat him again. I get why you did it. That's the money fight. It's time for Poirier to come on home, get that belt. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos on betting content as well as sports for UFC, NFL, NBA, and NCAA, guys. Thank you guys so much. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.